Hi everyone, I am Dr. Bharathi from Department of Computer Science PG, Kristu Jayanti College, Bengaluru, and today we are going to discuss about wrapper classes in Java. So, going back to what is wrapper classes, we should have a small recap on what is classes and objects. So, these classes and object are going to be a building blocks of the object oriented concepts in Java. So, classes is going to be a prototype or the model, the prototype model for the objects to be created, and objects is going to be the instantiation of the classes from which the methods and data variables can be accessed from the classes. So, now coming back, what is wrapper classes? So, wrapper class is a class that wraps a primitive data type into an object is called the wrapper class. So, for example, wrapping int into integer class, wrapping double into double class, and wrapping char into character class. So, we all knew this wrapping int and double and char. So, all these things which comes under the primitive data types. So, how many of the data types in the primitive data types? It's going to be 8 types from byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean and char. So, now why we wanted to go for the wrapper classes and how does this wrapper classes works? Before we get into discussion of the syntax and the types, we should know the basics of why we wanted to go for the wrapper classes. So, the first reason is going to be on change the call in method. Usually Java supports only call by value. So, if we pass a primitive value, it will not change the original value, but if we convert the primitive value in an object, it will change the original value. And second reason is going to be on serialization, where we need to convert the object into streams. So, to perform the serialization, where if we have a primitive value, we can convert it in objects through the wrapper classes to perform the serialization. And next one is going to be on synchronization. So, the Java synchronization works with objects in multi-threading. And next one is going to be on java.util package, where it provides the utility classes to deal with objects. And the last reason is going to be on collection framework. So, we have a lot of frameworks in Java, especially the collection frameworks, which works with objects only. So, all classes of the collection framework like the array list, for example, array list, linked list, vector, hash it deal with only objects. And for all these reasons, we wanted to convert to objects, we make use of the wrapper classes. And how do these wrapper classes work? So, this is going to be the wrapper classes will be an interface or the bridge between the primitive data type and objects. So, wrapper classes allow you to work with both primitive data type and objects in Java. So, we have multiple methods that can be used with the primitive data types. For example, to string, pass, int, decode, min, max and round. So, the plenty of classes are available to work with the wrapper classes. So, and these are the list of the wrapper classes. So, we have seen the 8 primitive data types and the corresponding wrapper class is shown in the tabular column. So, it has its own syntax, and if whenever it has to be it converted to the primitive data type has to be converted to the wrapper classes, and this particular syntax of the particular data type has to be utilized. So, we will go with this creating wrapper objects. We have seen what is wrapper classes and why we are making use of the wrapper classes, and also we have discussed the types of or the data types of the wrapper classes different for primitive data types, and we are going to discuss on creating wrapper objects. Here integer myint is equal to 5, double my double is equal to 5.99 and character my char is equal to a. So, here myint, my double, my char is going to be the wrapper objects, and you are going to create these wrapper objects using integer, double and character that we saw in the previous slide. And next one is going to be, there are 2 important concepts in wrapper classes. One is going to be on auto boxing, the other one is going to be on unboxing. Here the auto boxing is going to be the automatic conversion of the primitive data type into its corresponding wrapper class, which is known as autoboxing. For example, you have a byte to byte, char to character, int to integer, long to long, float to float, which we saw in the slide. So this is done automatically without any declaration, which is known as autoboxing. So this is going to be an example for the conversion of the primitive data type to wrapper data type. So here int a is equal to 56. So here int is going to be on the primitive data type, and the autoboxing will convert automatically the primitive data type to the wrapper data type. Here integer is going to be the wrapper class and a object is going to be the wrapper objects, and it holds the value of a, which is 56. And next comes to unboxing. Here the automatic conversion of the wrapper type into its corresponding primitive type is known as unboxing, and this is the reverse process of autoboxing. So this is going to be an example to convert from the wrapper to primitive. So as we specified in the last slide, so autoboxing is going to be integer a object is equal to 56. Here integer is equal to wrapper class and a object is equal to wrapper object, and unboxing it is again int a is equal to a object. So this is going to unbox it, which happens for the wrapper class to the primitive data type. So and these are the takeaways in this wrapper class. The class that wraps a primitive data type into an object is called wrapper class in Java, and wrapper classes acts as a bridge between the primitive data types and objects. So all the 8 primitive data types have its own respect to wrapper classes. Autoboxing and unboxing are important concepts on wrapper classes. Thank you very much. We'll discuss with another session in the next class.